Welcome everyone to Beat the Game, and let's talk about Adam Warlock, understanding the mechanics. So Adam Warlock, when I first played him, I thought he was interesting. I did find he had a lot of deficiencies, and he had a kind of a strange way to play. And I don't know if you had that same feeling. He feels a little slow because you gotta kind of find his key pieces, but once he gets going, he becomes unstoppable. So let's take a look at his key kit. Let's take a little breakdown of what his key cards are. Let's take a look and try to understand a little bit more how to play Adam Warlock to make him as efficient as possible when you want to play the game. So let's take a look at his stats. So Adam Warlock, he doesn't have an alter ego name, so he's just Adam Warlock. He just is. He's like Madonna. He just is. All right. He's got a recovery of 3, which is kind of low, but pretty pointless because he does have cards that just heal him up for everything. So I don't think his recovery really matters. You could have put him recovery 10 and it wouldn't really matter. Okay, so he is a mystic now. Ooh, mystic characters. So he is the 3rd mystic character. So yes, if you are thinking, oh my god, he can run Sorcerer Supreme, ding 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 ding, you just won a prize. That's correct. He can run Sorcerer Supreme, and he can run the other card there, Spiritual Meditation. Now, Avatar of Life says, during the deck building, your deck must include an equal number of cards from all 4 aspects, and you cannot include more than 1 copy of any non-Adam Warlock card. Now, that is interesting. So, if you want to build him, so let's say you put 3 aggressive cards. You have to have 3 protection, 3 leadership, and 3 justice. If you go for 5, then you need 5 justice, 5 so whatever number you choose from the aspect, you have to have 5, like the same amount in all 4 aspects. Now, is that okay? It's cool, but it makes it harder to focus. And I think wherein lie the challenge with Adam Warlock is, what are the cards that I want to play? And it's going to be, I don't think there's going to be a 1 deck Adam Warlock build. I don't think it's going to be, I think when you do build Adam Warlock, you're really going to have to fine tune against what scenario you're going to be playing to see what can really have a good matchup and give you the best odds. Because with Adam Warlock, you do start with a disadvantage of, you want to run that into the fray for the aggression cards, but you only have 1 copy. So if it's not the right timing, it's not good. So that's kind of weird. But then we'll talk about that in a minute. All right, so let's look at the other thing. Action, discard a card from your hand. Remove a status card from Adam Warlock. So if you get stunned or confused, you can pitch a card and just get rid of that, which is kind of good because it's a 1 cost. It's a true 1 cost status removal, which is good. Now let's look at his hero form. So we'll look at his hero form. He has, in Alter Ego, he has a hand size of 6 and 11 hit points. And in hero form, he is still Adam Warlock. He has a hand size of 5 and 11 hit points. And he has 1 thwart, 1 attack, and 2 defense. Yeah. So again, I think his stats are a little low. They're not amazing stats. I think I would have liked him to be like at least a 2 thwart, 2. I think I would, if he would have been a 2-2-2, I think he would have been just perfect at a 2-2-2. At a 1-1-2, I find I think he lags a little bit. But that's just me. Maybe I don't know. It's because even if you give him a +1 aggression, even if you fill him up with the armored vests, the heroic intuition, and the combat training, he becomes a 2-2-3, which is okay, but then he can't really get higher than that. So that's where I find he could have been a 3-3-3. That would have been, or I think that would have been good. But then again, that's just me. That's just my personal opinion. But he is a guardian and a mystic, so he can play all of the guardian cards, the guardian cards have some really powerful cards. So the fact that he can run those is really good. All right, Battle Mage. action, discard a card from your hand once per phase. Now, the way this is worded is kind of confusing. Once per phase, it should have been once per round. Actually, even once per round would still be confusing. I think, I don't know how they could have worded it. Yeah, once per phase. And it's an action, and you can only do actions during the hero phase. So I think that's where the jargon kind of becomes a little confusing, because you think, oh, once per phase, oh, I can do that in the villain turn? No, because it's an action, you cannot do actions. You cannot request actions or do actions during the villain phase. So that doesn't work. But so if you discard, in the hero phase, if you discard an aggression, you can deal 2 damage to an enemy, which kind of compensates for his low attack. Justice, you can remove 2 threat from a scheme, which kind of compensates, which seemingly gives him that 3 thwart, that 3 attack. And then protection, you can heal damage from an ally, and leadership, you can give yourself +1/+1/+1 this round. So I think that's why his stats are so low, because if you discard a leadership card, well, then he's a 2/2/3, and then if you put all those permanents like the combat training, blah blah blah, he becomes a 3/3/4. Ooh, you know what? It's not bad. It's not a bad idea. So you can still grow him to be. So, but it takes time, and that's the thing. That's where I think it takes him a minute to get there. But once he gets there, yeah, he can become pretty unstoppable. All right, so let's kind of take a look at some of the key cards in his kit. So one of the key cards, a lot of people think that Soul World is his best card. Unfortunately, Soul World is a good card. Don't get me wrong. It's very good, but it's not the best card. So it's a 1 cost. Let's read Soul World. So 1 cost support, Soul World says response. It is a location. After your deck runs out of cards, place 1 soul counter here. You can go to Alter Ego and exhaust World and remove a soul counter. Heal all damage from your identity. So yeah, so you can take a beating, and then you flip through your deck, and then all of a sudden you can heal back up, which is cool. But how often are you going to do that during the game? You might do that once, you might do that twice. So yeah, it's a big healing event, but again, timing with Adam Warlock is what is key. So if you get in an early game, yeah, it's cool. You can play it down. It's a 1 cost. It stays on the table, and it's good. You run out of your deck. You put there, oh, I need to go and heal. All of a sudden, boom, you just recovered everything. You have a stun. You can just discard a card, remove your stun. So there's a lot of good synergies. Again, I think it's a good card. I don't think it's his best card. Let's look at his best cards. All right. He's got 2 of these. These are the Mystic Senses, and he's got 2 copies of his deck of the Mystic Senses. So Mystic Sense is a 2 cost upgrade that says it's a condition and a superpower. All right. Mystic Sense says heal response after you resolve Adam Warlock's Battle Mage ability, draw a card. So this one, if you have 1 in play, so basically the card you're using to get rid of it gets you another card. So basically, you get to use his ability for free, which is great because then you get to draw a card. Once you have both cards in play, then you discard 1 to draw 2, which is just as good as Captain Marvel's space station, Alpha Flight Station. But you can do that in hero form, so that becomes phenomenal. So the Mystic Senses are his best cards that you want to focus and you want to put those down at ASAP. You don't care what you got, you get that, you put this into play. Toot sweet. All right, so Mystic Senses, priority number 1 card here. So that is definitely a priority number 1 card. Now let's take a look at some of the other cards that he has in his deck that are also a priority. All right, Warlock's Cape. So Warlock's Cape is another 2 cost upgrade that says hero response after you resolve Adam Warlock's Battle Mage ability, exhaust the cape and ready Adam Warlock. And we all know when you can ready your character, it is always powerful. Now again, he only has these little stats, but if you discarded a leadership card, then he has a 2/2/3, then it's pretty good. You can discard, thwart for 2, discard a card, thwart for 2, and then ready up. So there you go. So the cape gives you a lot of of versatility. So again, priority number one, the cape and the mystic senses. I would say if you had a choice between the cape and the mystic sense, put the mystic sense down first, because it's anything that that generates your resources is money. So mystic sense is money, but priority 1.5 would be the Warlock's cape. And then finally, his next 1.5 is the karmic staff. So this is another 2 cost upgrade. It's an artifact and an item, and it's a resource. It's a resource, baby. Resources are key to a lot of the characters. Exhaust the karmic stack and generate a wild resource. Now, this is super important, just like the 2 mystic senses. Again, the 2 mystic senses, priority number 1. The karmic staff and the Warlock's cape, priority 1.5. You want these cards on the table as soon as possible. Once you have all 4 of those on the table, you can pretty much say that your Adam Warlock is built. And then priority 2 is your Soul World. So again, focus on those cards, Cosmic, the staff, and these are your priority cards. These, you see them, you play them. Unless there's an emergency, try to hold on to these cards as much as possible to play them as soon as possible. All right, then he has one more upgrade that we want to talk about, and this I think is very, very useful. It is called the Cosmic Ward, and there's 2 copies of this. Now, this is a 1 cost upgrade. Cosmic Ward reads Forced Interrupt, and this is very important. It is a forced interrupt. When you reveal a treachery card, cancel its when revealed effects and discard it. Then discard Cosmic Ward. So this, even if you are an alter ego. So first of all, even if you're an alter ego and get Shadows of the Past, booyah, gone, done. It's gone. You cancel it. Now, if you get Under Fire, you are going to still get the Surge, because Surge is not part of the when revealed, but you will be able to cancel the second card it would give you. So instead of getting 2 extra cards, you get only 1. So basically it replaces 1. But yeah, so this is very, very good, because regardless if you're in hero or alter ego, booyah, Cosmic Ward will trigger and cancel whatever negative treachery happens in the deck. So there's 2 of these. So don't play both at the same time, because they both trigger, and then you would discard both of them if on 1 treachery. So just play 1, and then if you have to hold that, just play the next one. And these ones you really want to cycle, because you can basically have a lot of control on the game with these 2 cards. Now, it's cool, but Steve, you only have 2 cards of those. How can you play with those? Well, there's a great card called Quantum Magic. Now, Quantum Magic is a 1 cost event that says it's a spell, action, choose a card in your discard pile and add that card to your hand. So basically, it costs you 2 cards to bring back 1 card. So if you had to lose, let's say, your Mystic Sense or your Staff, it's a way to get some cards back. And you have 2 copies of that in your deck. So again, 2 copies, you can play these Cosmic Wards, fetch them back from your discard pile, get him back. And this was, I think, I learned my lesson. Canceling treacheries is super powerful. You can always deal with minions, but sometimes these treacheries are very, very painful. And the fact that you can bring those cancels back every turn is phenomenal. So that is Quantum Magic. Very, very good card. Don't sit on this card. This is a priority 2 card to fetch something that you lost. Because Adam Warlock, we're discarding cards, we're losing cards. Getting stuff back is very important to be able to really set up quickly and properly. So definitely Quantum Magic. Don't just spend this card as a resource. If you can hold on to it, if you lost something in your discard pile that went to your discard pile through some actions or stuff like that, definitely keep this card. Go get your priority cards. All right. Again, so there's 2 copies of that. Then let's talk about a couple of attack cards. So here is, and you have 3 copies of this one, is called Karmic Blast. This is a 2 cost event, and it is attack and a superpower. Hint, hint, superpower. If you're playing great, put in a Death Focus in this deck. It's going to be worth it. All right, so Karmic Blast is that 2-cost event, attack, superpower, hero action, attack. So you deal 4 damage to an enemy, and you can discard up to 4 cards from the top of your deck. So you don't have to do it. You can discard up to 4 cards. Now, I was doing always the 4 cards because you want to try to maximize that damage. But if you know your deck, you can kind of play around that. So let's say I have a minion with 5 health, I deal 4 damage, and then I reveal 1 card, and it's, let's say, a Justice card. Well, that's my 5th point of damage. I don't need to discard more. I don't need to. So this is why it's very fun. It's discard up to 4 cards, and then deal an additional damage for each different aspect discarded this way. So aggression, so this is, again, very cool, and you can control this. Now, I made the mistake when I played my first game. I didn't read the card properly. It's up to. So you can control the amount of cards you're discarding. Keep that in mind. And there's 3 copies of the Karmic Blast. And then finally, the last event, and then we'll talk about his ally, we have Cosmic Awareness. And then you have 2 copies of these Cosmic Awareness. So this is his big thwart event. So this is remove... it's a 2-cost event, thwart, and a superpower again. And it's a hero action thwart to remove 3 threat from his scheme. And you can discard up to 4 cards. Again, up to 4 cards from the top of your deck, and remove an additional threat for each aspect card discarded this way. So kind of like the other card that we saw, you can choose. So if there's 4 threat on the main, you're looking for that 4th or that 5th threat. Then 1, 2, and then perfect. You can bring that thing to 0, remove that side scheme that has. So very, very cool and very versatile. I do like that card. Very, very interesting because you can gauge the power, and that's super good. So again, you're in control of the discarding. Remember that. All right, and then finally, his signature ally is called Pip the Troll, a 2-cost ally with 1 thwart, 1 attack, and toughness. He's got 2 hit points, and he is also a mystic, and says, when Pip the Troll is in your hand, he gains interrupt. When a player is attacked, spend a lightning and a mental. Then resources, and then you can put Pip the Troll into play under that player's control. So that is very cool. So you can throw an ally in front of somebody else that's getting attacked, and you're like, oh no, you're going to die. You pitch Troll and you go, hey, Troll, spend my lightning, spend my mental, booyah. Go play somewhere else, and you can do that as an interrupt. It is very, very cool. Just remind yourself, even if you are playing this under somebody's control, you will not be, this is not like a defense card. You're playing Pip under that player's control. He will still, if there's any, let's say you are stunned, or if this attack is undefended and stuff like that, whatever, if there's a trigger afterward, the active player will still be the other player, but Pip the Troll will be in front of that player and be able to block and just lose his toughness. Very, very solid ally here. Probably one of the best allies, signature allies in the game. The fact that you can play him as an interrupt is just brilliant. All right? Or you can play him for 2 and just put him in front of yourself, which kind of does the same thing, but anyway, it's still good. It's still good. All right. Now, actually, it's better if you play him on the villain's turn, because then if there's a negative consequences, let's say you're playing against Thanos, and then there's a stone that's going to resolve, it's not going to resolve against you. It's going to resolve against the other player. All right, so there you go. Therein lies his kit. So his kit, again, very thematic, very powerful, really geared towards discarding cards. Now, again, my big problem is I didn't read the cards when I played him first, and I was always discarding the 4 cards, losing sometimes some of the best cards that I had because I wasn't being careful about reading the cards. All right, so he comes with no double resources, but he comes with a very cool kit, and it's very thematic the way they did it. All right, so every aspect is going to have 1 resource, 1 ally, 1 upgrade, and 3 events. So let's take a look at some of the new cards. So all of the resource cards are new. So the first one is called Audacity, and this is max once per player, hero response. After you spend this card, deal a damage to the villain. So this is very cool because Audacity can actually help remove tough status cards. This is ping damage, very cool, but again, it is a hero response. Very cool. I do like this card for the aggression. The next one is his ally. So the next one is called Marvel Boy. So he's a 2-cost ally, and he has a 0 thwart, 2 attack, and he's a guardian and a Kree. So this is the first time we see the Kree keyword. No, we don't. No, that's from Captain Marvel, has some Kree stuff. All right. Guardian and Kree. He is 2 ally, but he has an interrupt. When Marvel Boy attacks, you can spend a physical resource, and this attack gains piercing and ranged. So this is very, very solid. Now, if you have some upgrades to build on this kid, definitely very good. Now, the only thing that's kind of sad is he only has 2 hit points. But if you can find a way to increase his hit points, give him use his battle mage ability to heal a damage from an ally, very, very strong. And this ally, piercing and range, this can go far, especially if you inspire him and then you give him a phaser. So Marvel Boy is somebody you can actually build off with Adam Warlock. That is going to be a very powerful ally. All right, here we go. Then we have combat training. We're not going to talk about that because who cares? We already seen this card. And then we're going to talk about the 3 event cards. All right, so every aspect has 6 cards. All right, 2 cards that we don't care about. So like training and uppercut, we've already seen these. We don't care. All right, but he has these cosmic entities. All right, so the cosmic entity is called the In-Betweener. He's a 2-cost event. Cosmic entity action. Shuffle this card into the encounter deck without looking. Well, how do you shuffle something without looking? I don't think that needed to be there, but you can just shuffle. So the thing is, you're going to see this card coming if you're running clear sleeves. But if you're running colored sleeves, you'll never see this card coming, which is kind of cool. You can have a surprise. That's considering if all your sleeves are the same for that. Now, when revealed, deal 2 damage to the villain and remove this card from the game. This effect cannot be canceled. All right, so if the only thing is if the villain's tough, he's still tough. He's still going to take the damage. It's not an attack. So it's just 2 damage. So it's pretty cool because this is what I'm kind of mixed feelings about these cards. What I like about it is, yes, you put it in the encounter deck. Okay, it shuffles in. So if you draw it as a boost card, it's a 0 boost. But then it goes back into your deck. So I think that's where, if it was shuffling back and adding more cards to the encounter deck, I would like that a little bit more. But my big issue is it goes in your deck and then you have to play it again. So technically it can be either 2 for 2 damage, which is okay. As an encounter card, you're like, wow, I'll deal damage as an encounter card. But if you get it as a boost, it's a true 3 cost to have a boost of 0. So anyway, so for me the math is not super good. I like it, but I don't love it. It's an okay card. And then finally we have Magic Attack spell, 1 cost event that you can only play if you have the Mystic trait, max 1 per deck. That's important. And it's a hero action. Attack. Choose an enemy and discard up to 5 cards from the top of your deck and deal a damage to that enemy for each card discarded this way. So again, you have a choice. So if you have an enemy with only 3, you can just discard 3 cards from the top of your deck and deal 3 damage. So that is it for the new aggression cards. So pretty fun. Now let's take a look at the new protection cards. So again, same pattern. 2 cards that we don't really care about. So like Counter Punch and Armored Vest, who cares? We've seen these cards before. But let's take a look at our first card. We have Preservation, which is a max 1 per deck. It's a wild card and a resource. Hero response, after you spend this card, heal 1 damage from your hero. not too bad. I kind of like that. And then we also have Charlie 27. So he is a 4-cost ally with 1 thwart, 1 attack, retaliate, and toughness with 4 hit points. So Charlie is a big boy, but he is very expensive. Especially that you have no double resources in the deck. I think he's a little expensive. But the fact that he's a guardian is pretty cool. But aside from that, he's very expensive. But he's got the 4 health. He's got the retaliate. So this is a guy that you want to use on like minions that attack for 1. And then you just kind of use him. You block with the boss once, which has the retaliate. And then you just kind of grind them down with some minions. And then he just kills minions by not attacking. So that's how I kind of see Charlie. He's an okay ally for protection. Here's the next one. We have the Gardener, which is a 2-cost event, Cosmic Entity again, and action. So shuffle this card into the encounter deck again. And when revealed, he'll do 2 damage from your identity and remove this card from the game. So again, it's you heal for 2, which is not bad if you're in hero form, but it has to get revealed as an encounter card. So if it'd be cool if it had a little boost icon so it would get revealed. I think that would be very, very cool. But I think what Caleb said is like, hey, you put it in the deck. If it comes out, yay. If it doesn't, you're never too sure. So I like where they were at when they built these cards. Personally, I think it's just, again, an okay card. You can do thematically. I don't think it's a good card, like, per se. Like I said, I like it, but I don't love it. And then finally, Shield Spell. Love this card. So this, again, with all of the mystics that are playing protection, is Amazeballs. Defense spell, 0-cost event. Play only if you have the mystic trait, max once per deck. And it's a hero interrupt with defense when you would take any amount of damage. That's amazing. From an attack, discard that many cards from the top of your deck and then prevent all damage from this attack. So let's say you're fighting off against Ronin. Oh my god, man. Fighting off against Ronin, you take an attack of like 9, 10. Poof. Yeah, you go through your deck, which helps trigger Soul World. And then poof, you take no damage. Man, that is very, very good. So Shield Spell, definitely one of my favorite protection cards. Unfortunately, it can only be played by Mystic Schmucks. All right. Let's talk about the other cards. So again, the 2 cards we don't really care about. For Justice and Heroic Intuition. We've seen these cards before. Let's talk about Determination. Determination is max once per deck. Hero response. After you spend this card, remove 1 threat from the main scheme. Again, very cool card. Again, it has the wild resource, so it can be played with for anything if you need to trigger. Now, the only ruling on this card is if you have a crisis icon, unfortunately, you won't be able to remove threat from the main because the crisis icon will supersede this hero response. So that's the only thing to remember. And then the ally we have is Quasar. Now, I really like this guy. So especially in multiplayer. So Quasar is a 3-cost ally. He's an aerial guardian with 3 hit points, 1 thwart, 2 attack, both with 1 consequence damage and a response. After Quasar enters play, remove 1 threat from each scheme in play. So 1 from the main, 1 from each side scheme. As long as there's no crisis icon, Quasar gets rid of 1 from everything. So that can be really, really effective. I really like this guy. And again, the fact that you don't have to be a guardian to play him means he can go in a lot of Justice decks. So especially with that new card, one way or another, where you're putting a new side scheme in play to draw some more cards. Man, Quasar, very, very cool. All right, now let's take a look at our Cosmic Entity, which is the Living Tribunal, 2-cost event. Shuffle this card into the encounter deck, and when revealed, remove 2 threat from the main scheme and remove this card from the game. Now, this one I particularly don't like because, again, it's 2 threat from the main scheme, and if you happen to get it revealed and if there's a crisis icon, you're like, man. So he can't even do that. So that is something, I wish it would say bypasses the crisis or bypasses something. But no, it's just like, oh, I can do it. No, you can't. So again, I'm very, very indifferent from these cards. I will probably try them out because I want to play test with some of these things to see if they make sense. But like I said, I'm going to play test with them and see how they go. And if I find some room for them, and then I'll definitely share that with you guys. And then Zone of Silence, 1 cost event, spell, and a thwart. You can only play if your identity has the mystic trait, only 1 per deck. Hero action thwart, choose a scheme and discard up to 4 cards from the top of your deck. Remove a threat for each card discarded this way. So that's, again, a very cool card. It's kind of like a lay down the law for 1 without just the cost of just discarding cards from the top of your deck. So super solid card, again, only if you're a Mystic. Very, very cool. Very fun cards here with Adam Warlock. Now let's take a quick look at our leadership cards. The 2 cards we don't really care about, Make the Call and Inspired. But Inspired, remember that card with the Marvel Boy. This is pretty good combo here. And then if you can fetch him back, makes a lot of sense. All right. Now, let's take a look at the 4 cards we have. So we have Innovation. I really like this card. It's a max once per deck. Hero response, after you spend this card, heal a damage from an ally you control. So I like that because it heals your allies, which is, again, one of the ways that I actually was able to beat Expert Claw was by playing this card and healing Marvel Boy, and having that with the Inspired was very cool. Discarding a protection card, healing that ally, and then keeping him in play. So that was one of the good ways that I was able to play that. All right, next one. All right, next card we're going to talk about is our ally, Major Victory. So Major Victory is a 2-cost ally. He is a Guardian with 2 health. He has 1 thwart, 1 attack. He has an interrupt. When Major Victory is defeated, choose a friendly Guardian character and ready that character. So it can be any Guardian character in play. So if you're playing multiplayer, he can be a block, and then let's say you're the designated blocker, or you have a protection guy like Drax. He defends, he gets his Vengeance token, then somebody blocks with him, and then you can ready Drax, and Drax can block again with another Vengeance. So a lot of cool combos to play with Major Victory with a lot of the Guardian characters. Very, very cool. Love this guy. Love him. And then Eternity. Another cosmic entity here, 2-cost event. You can shuffle him in without looking, blah, blah, blah. Whenever revealed, draw a card and remove this card from the game. So I like the effect of drawing a card. You know what? I would probably have run these entities if they cost 1. If you had him at a 1 cost, all 4 of them were a cost of 1, it would make so much sense, because then you're like, okay, it cost me 2, but then I can get a benefit from it later by putting these in the encounter deck. Makes sense. The fact that they cost 2, so a true cost of 3, totally too expensive. Even at a cost of 0 would be great. But yeah, what can you do? I didn't design the game. And then Summoning Spell. Love this card. Summoning Spell is a 2-cost event. Play only if your identity has the Mystic trait, max once per deck. And it's a hero action. You discard cards from the top of your deck until you discard an ally and put that ally into play under your control. So very cool. Now, I love this card, but you really have to think about, what allies are you playing? Who do you want to play? So when you build your deck, if you put the expensive allies, it's okay. And then just like, oh, cool, I'll put in like Better Ray build, because if I can get him out with my Summoning Spell, he's free. So he only cost me 3 cards instead of 6 cards to play. So it makes perfect sense. So again, Summoning Spell is a great spell, especially if you're going to try to do a leadership with some big allies. It makes a lot of sense. There's a couple ways of playing this card, which we'll figure out when we play a little bit more. And then let's look at our final ally in the basic. So he has 1 basic card. I personally would have put the instead of another ally, but I would have played, what's his face there? The Sorcerer Supreme. Definitely would have put that, or a Death Focus. I would have added that, but I think Martin X is still a good choice. So he is a 3-cost ally. Martin X has 1 thwart, 1 attack, 4 points, 4 hit points. He is a Guardian, but he does have a static cost of reduce the cost to play Martin X by 1 if your identity has the Guardian trait. So Adam Warlock is a Guardian, so he has a 2 cost of 3, a printed of 2, and then true cost of 3 if you are a Guardian, which you mostly will play him while you are in hero form. So for Martin X, again, 4 health ally. He's not the best. He's okay, but he is a Guardian. So if you have nowhere, he's an easy trigger. He technically is a 2-cost ally and can do a couple things before getting chump blocked. So he's a good ally. Don't get me wrong. He's an okay dude and makes a lot of sense. All right, let's take a look now at the bad cards, because there is some bad cards in this game. So first things first is called Regeneration Cycle. So we can give this to the Adam Warlock player, and you may flip to Alter Ego if that happens. Exhaust your Alter Ego and remove this obligation from the game, which is fine. But you can discard top 5 cards of your deck and place 1 threat on the main scheme for each different aspect. Discarded this way, discard this obligation. So if you're exhausted and that happens, well, that can add threat to the main scheme for the different card types. So it can add 4 threat to the main, which could pop and that could be dangerous. But all in all, if it's a multiplayer game, this card is definitely an easy peasy obligation. Definitely not one of the worst. So Regeneration Cycle. I don't see the need to really have to get rid of it, but again, the good thing is you can always flip and then you can do the bad stuff. So Regeneration Cycle, and okay. Now let's talk about the card that's always going to come and see my face, the Nemesis. So the Nemesis comes in, he is called the Magnus. Now he is pretty brutal. I won't lie. Having faced him a couple times, he is brutal. He is a 2 scheme, 2 attack, elite mystic, and he has quick strike and toughness. So if you get him while you're in hero form, he's going to straight up attack your face. 5 health, quick strike, and toughness means he's really hard to get rid of. And he has a force response. After the Magus activates against you, discard the top 5 cards of your deck. So regardless if he schemes or if he attacks, so you discard 5 cards from the top of your deck. So that is brutal. So very, very tough minion. I don't like him. Well, I like him because he's very tough, but I don't like getting him early game because he can ruin your day. Now you also get a nasty side scheme, which is the Universal Church of Truth, which has a force response. After a player resets their deck, so once you deck out, it says exhaust your identity and stun it. And then the problem is it's only got 2 per player, which is not that bad, but it has a boost that it comes back into play, so it gets revealed as a boost card, and that is just annoying. So that it's a side scheme that you just can't escape. So yeah, very, very, very thematic to Adam Warlock. So I think they're really, really good. So it's good. Now there's only 1 treachery here, and it's called the Cosmic Inquisition. And again, a very bad card. Has Insight 2, which means it puts 2 threat on the main. And then when reveal, if the Universal Church of Truth side scheme is in play, you discard the top 10 cards of your deck. Otherwise, you search the encounter deck, discard pile, and the set-aside area for Universal Church and reveal it, then shuffle the encounter card. So it's basically going to go get the side scheme, and if it's already in play, well, boom, you're going to get punished, and you're gonna discard 10 cards from your deck, and it's not fun. And then you're probably going to get exhausted and stunned. So that one is a brutal one. And then there's a couple of minions that come in as well. And then the Zealots of Truth, which is a minion with 1 scheme, 2 attack, mystic minions, which is interesting. And then threat cannot be removed from the Universal Church of Truth side scheme. So when these guys are around, you can't get rid of that church card. And a boost card, put the Zealot of Truth into play, engage with you. So aside from Magnus and the Cosmic, you are getting everything over and over. Kind of like Venom's minions, the symbiotes, they come into play. Man, these Zealots, and there's 2 of them too. So 2 Zealots and the Universal Church. So that is a pretty nasty Nemesis set, I won't lie. And they're pretty tough. So, they're 1/2s with 4 health. So they're pretty brutal. All right. So this is it for Adam Warlock's kit. All right. So, all right, guys. So all I can say about Adam Warlock is he is super interesting. He's really got some really cool deck builds that you can kind of feel and check out right now. So in the next video that you'll be able to see and watch, you'll be able to see all these deck ideas that I put in there come to life versus expert scenarios, just to see like how they would pan out and how it plays out and how my original idea developed into the other 3 decks and how those decks play out too as well. So I think you're going to be in for a real nice treat. So guys, again, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for all this delicious content and all these fun heroes. So again, you can go back. Everything is in a playlist. So if you want to see 2-player games, if you want to see team ups, you want to see campaign games, you want to see like beginner stuff. So everything is broken down into different categories, playlists. Some of them is in French, so there's the French channel, and then there's the majority is in English. But there is like every day I do a French video about the card of the day. So that was Kennedy Hawk's thing. So I'm not going to take it over, even though he stopped doing it. He's doing these Mighty Marvel minutes now that are super delicious for all the people to listen to. So guys, if you haven't checked those out, definitely check out that channel, Marvel Champions Monthly. And yeah, guys, keep on playing Marvel Champions. Enjoy these games. Ciao, ciao.